What is up, gamers? Staxwell's back at it again today, and I want to talk about Part the Mistveil, where I think these prices are going to land. We're still in like the pre-release season, right? This set doesn't officially come out for another week. So there's a lot of sales for cards that people pulled from the pre-release going on right now on like Facebook, Discord, eBay, stuff like that. I don't want anyone to overpay or undersell. So yeah, I'm just going to give my take on where I think these cards are going to land. Obviously, no guarantees. I think I did pretty good with heavy hitters. So yeah, I'm looking to run it back and have another good performance here. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it here. We'll start with the Majestics, then we'll do the Legendaries, then we'll do the Marvels. So for the Majestics, I think overall a good rule of thumb for like trying to call the value of any Majestics from the set, you could like look at other sets, right? So if we look at heavy hitters, we look at all the Majestics. We have it filtered heavy hitters, Majestics, sorted high to low, right? So the most expensive heavy hitters card is Blade Flurry. Why is it the most expensive? Because it's usable in 3 different heroes. It's usable in Dory, Kasai, and Olympia, right? Send Packing is usable in 3 different heroes. Ripple Away is a generic, usable in every hero. Ancestral Harmony, usable in 2 different heroes, also recently subjugated to like Spike because of Zen. Aether Arc just got a little bit of a buyout, right? Runner, usable in like 6 different heroes. Standing Order, usable in everybody. And then we come to Trounce, which is like the first card that's only usable in 1 hero, right? It is like an archetype defining card in Victor. So yeah, this is like kind of where my mind always goes. Every set looks like this too. This isn't just like a heavy hitters thing. We could look at any set, Majestic, sort high to low, and you'll notice very similar trends, right? Look, Cast Bones, one of the best cards in the set, but it's only usable in KO, therefore it's only $3 or $4. So yeah, this is kind of like the lens I'm looking at everything through. So yeah, prefacing that, let's go ahead, jump into it here. New is obviously going to be pretty worthless, just like every other Majestic hero is. Gorgon's Gaze, I don't even think this card is good. Even if it was good, it's a new card, right? So since only new could play it because it's a Mystic Assassin card, then it can't ever be more than something like a Trounce or a Cast Bones, right? So it's going to be $5 or less for this card, almost certainly. And then not only that, but like that's if it was a good card. I don't even think it's a good card. I don't think it's played, unfortunately. Same could be said for Siren's Call. The Sacred Arts, I think, are kind of interesting because they're legendary. They're printed at, they're like kind of short printed, intentionally short printed, right? They're printed at 1/3 of the rate as all of the other Majestics. The thing with the Sacred Art cards, so that would kind of like bring them up a little bit for me. But all of the calling packages, all of the Fabled calling packages are going to have the extended art, Sacred Arts for a while. And then, of course, they come Marvel as well. I don't have high hopes for these, and they also are only usable in 1 class. I'd probably put these at about $5 as well for all of them. Maybe I'd say they're all going to be about $5. Maybe they'll be a little bit more on release, right? But as time goes on, they're all going to settle at 5 or less. But yeah, if you like don't immediately need these cards, I wouldn't recommend picking them up. Manifestation of Miragai, I think this is going to be like the Cast Bones of the set, right? It's going to start very expensive because everyone wants to build Enigma. This is like the standout best hero of the set, just like KO was. And this is like the standout Majestic that's only usable in that hero of this set. Like it's literally Cast Bones, like from a market perspective, right? So because of that, I think it's going to start at like $20 and then, eventually trickle its way down to that $5 price range that we see Cast Bones at right now. Sacred Art, Immortal Lunar Shrine. Again, $5 eventually. Maybe initially it'll be like 10, but this card's definitely going to drop. Zen, quarter. Tooth and Claw. No one's playing this card right now. Even if they were, can't be more than $5, right? So a quarter. This card will be a couple bucks. This card will be a couple bucks. I think Zen is also like the worst hero of the set, or seemingly the worst hero of the set, right? Time will obviously tell, but initially it's the worst hero coming out of the gates, the worst hero. So all of the Zen cards I would also rate a little bit lower, a little bit less expensive, right? This card's terrible. It's a quarter. This card probably will be seeing some side deck play, and it can be played in all 3 of the classes. So I actually think this one could be like a little bit more than $5, but probably not much because it's still like not a great card. It's a good like end game kind of sideboard option against more fatiguey decks. But yeah, I don't think it's a particularly good card or anything. I would say it's probably going to be around $5-10. Levels of Enlightenment stand out probably best. Actually, no, probably. It is the best Majestic in this set as far as like value-wise. I would be shocked if another card surpassed this card in value. I would say that Levels of Enlightenment is probably going to be like $30, I would imagine. Maybe initially it'll be a little bit more. But think 3 heroes could play it. I could see it hitting 20, I guess. I would still put my money on 30. I think this card's really good, and I think all the Mystic heroes are going to play it. I guess it kind of just depends on Zen's level of success. But yeah, my call is $30. I could see it hitting 20. This card, I think it's fine, and it is a Mystic card, so technically all 3 of them could play it. I don't think it's particularly good, though. Like I said, it's fine. I would say probably $10 for this card, just because, yeah, New could play it, and so could Enigma. So like the price of this card totally depends on how playable and how good it is. So if you believe in the card, it's gonna be $10. If this card winds up flopping and not being good, then it's $1, right? So it just totally depends on if this card is good or if it's bad. I've seen it in some Enigma lists. I don't personally like it in my Enigma list. I don't think it's gonna wind up being good. You know what? I don't think it's gonna be good. I think this card's gonna be $1. But if it is good, it's gonna be 10. But yeah, make the call for yourself. I don't think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be $1. Dense Blue Mist, I don't even think this card's good. Like even against like Ninja or against Assassin or whatever, I don't even think that this card makes the cut. I don't even think it's good. This is exactly the same card as Unravel Aggression. If this card winds up being good, then it's a $10 card, right? Actually, I don't even think that, because at most it's a side deck card, right? And this Rounds on Me is a side deck Majestic, and that's generic. All 3 heroes could play it, whereas only Mystic heroes could play this. So yeah, on its best day, I think it's $5, but I think more than likely it's a quarter or $1 card. Orion of Mystic Tenants, every legendary card is short printed intentionally, but it is all short printed because it's legendary. You can only play one of it. They don't want to have a surplus of them in circulation, so it makes sense that they print less of them. But I think this card's actually pretty good. I could imagine this card being played in all 3 of the heroes. It seems really good in Zen because the chess piece lets you transcend. You gain a resource when you transcend, and then you also have the chi because you transcended. So yeah, if you transcend, it's almost like a 1 card draw 3. Seems kind of insane. The other 2 heroes will probably wind up playing Tunic though. So kind of the same thing. If you transcend, Tunic counter, pitch a chi, draw 3. Seems good in all 3 heroes. I could see this card being $20, $15, $20, around that range. Okay, so Bonds, Persuasive, and Just a Nick are more interesting than like Gorgons and Siren's Call, because these cards will also be played in Uzuri, right? And they'll also potentially be played in Arachne. Not that that's a real deck or anything, but because these cards could be played in Uzuri, not only can they will be played in Uzuri. Because of that, I have to value them higher than I value Gorgon's Gaze, Siren's Call, 3 Visits, Sacred Art, all of that stuff. I imagine that these cards are probably going to be like $10 to $15 for each of them. Same with Just a Nick. Yeah, this could be played in all the Assassins, right? And if all the Assassins are playing Bonds and Persuasive, then it makes sense that all the Assassins will want to play Just a Nick as well. So yeah, I could see I think Just a Nick's a little bit worse. So I think these will probably be like $15, and then this will probably be $10. 1,000-Year Reunion card is bad. Timmy card, probably 25 cents. Rage Spectre, good card. Still, it's a card that only Enigma is going to want to play. Sure, technically it's an Illusionist card. You could play it in all of the Illusionist, but you wouldn't want to because you have no benefit of having Ward 6 on your turn. Even if you're playing against like a Kano that's dealing damage to you on your own turn, they could just activate all their Kanos in response to this card's activation. So sure, you could like argue that you'll stick it and it'll stay around and it'll be good. But even then, it's like, what? It's a side deck card for Kano. Like, you're an Illusionist. You have a great Kano matchup. You don't need to be side decking like these bad. You could side deck so much better cards than this. This card is just an Enigma card. Therefore, it'll probably be like initially expensive, right? So yeah, it'll kind of be like Mirror Guy, where initially this card will be like $15, $20, but eventually it'll settle at $5. I could say the same exact things about this card that I said about Rage Spectre. I think this one could be a little bit better in Prism. You know what? No, I'm not going to say that. Yeah, sure, it's a little better in Prism. It's still bad at Prism. This card's also going to be same exact price as Rage Spectre, I imagine. Chase the Tail, it is technically a ninja card, but it might as well say Zen Specialization because no other heroes are really going to be playing Crouching Tigers. I don't think Kitty Cat Katsu is a real deck. I think if you're going to be playing something like that, you might as well be playing Zen. So yeah, both of these cards are kind of Zen Specializations. I think they're going to be $1, maybe $2. Toward, this is a quarter. Card's terrible. Rowdy Locals is like low-key pretty good in Fi. This card's kind of cooks, and it's a generic. And I imagine we'll find other heroes that this is good in as well. Like, would you be surprised at all to find out that this card is good in Zen, right? You make so many Crouching Tigers in your hand, you have no way to really pay them off. Would you be surprised if you found out that Rowdy Locals was being played in Zen, discarding Tigers? No, that would make perfect sense, right? So I think that this card, like, initially it seems bad, just like another card initially seems bad, but the more you play with it, the more synergies you find with it. I could see this card being like $10, just like, this is like the ripple away of the set to me. Weakest link, this card screams like down and dirty to me. I see this card being like $15, because every deck could play it, right? It's really good into, you know, Illusionist, or it's really good into something like Illusionist. Uzuri could swap into this. Teo already could just naturally kind of play this. It fits really well. It's a 2 for 6, right? Blocks for 3. So yeah, this is kind of like the standout generic card of the set. Surprisingly, it doesn't really seem like that at first glance, but down and dirty doesn't seem great at first glance till you start thinking about it more either. I am like the biggest prismatic Leyline hater ever. I think this is like just the biggest Timmy card. Yeah, it's a, like, printed on it, it looks like it's a 1 card 6. The blues attack for 2 less than their red counterparts. Yellows attack for 1 less than their red counterparts. So you're kind of losing 3 of this value to be able to make up for the difference of playing blues and yellows on the combat chain. Yes, there are blue Majestics and yellow Majestics that only come in blue and yellow, but still, like, think about all the hoops you need to jump through to make your blues a little... This card is terrible. I think this card's terrible. I think if it is going to be good, though, it's going to be good in something like Katsu. But yeah, not playing attacks in Katsu, it seems so weird, especially when you have so many synergies like Art of War, pumping all of your attacks. Every card you activate that's not an attack is a lost value on Art of War. I think this card's bad. I think this card may be $1. Maybe. I could see a deck coming out someday that's good with it. But yeah, not anytime soon. Visit the Gold Main Estate. It's going to be $5. Golden Anvil, $5. Supercell will be $0.25. All of these evils will be $0.25. This card, since it's a equipment, you can only play 1 of it. It's short printed just like the legendary cards are. Yeah, I imagine this card's probably going to be $5. Notable, I need to talk about the cold foils of this stuff too, and the extended arts. So I'll circle back to that. Murky Water will be it'll be $5, because I'm sure that Riptide's going to be pretty decent here at some point soon. Pinging from the Trap seems like it's good against the Sigma players. And then, Riptide was already quite good. Riptide seems like he has a good Zen matchup. So yeah, he'll probably struggle into New still. But, I mean, with all the D-reacts and stuff, just depending how New is built, if New is built in a very, like, attack react heavy kind of way, then Riptide kind of has a good matchup into all 3 of the new heroes. So I could see him really cooking in the new format. And it's an expansion slot card, so the expansion slot cards, I'm not sure how true it is, but it certainly feels like they're printed less, doesn't it? So I don't know. The more I'm thinking about it, I guess this card comes out to be probably like a $7 card, somewhere between the 5 and 10. Kindle, I listen to the other Kano players. If the other Kano players are saying it's bad, then I'm not even going to try and evaluate this card myself. If, the Kano Council is not on this card, then I guess I'd say it's bad. And if it's bad, then it's going to be a $1 card. Dust from the Stillwater Shrine. I don't even know if Dromai plays this if she was legal. Like, if Dromai was still in the game, I don't even think you would play this card. The Dust from the Chromai Dust? The Chromai Dust is what it's called. The Chromai Dust is just so much better. And what are you going to play? More than 3 Dust in your deck? There's no way. I don't even think you play 3 Dust. I think you play like 2 Dust at the max. But if you were to play more Dust, you'd just play a 3rd Chromai Dust. And I guess if you had to play another Dust, maybe you play this Dust. But even then, I don't even know. This card's terrible. 25 cents. This is going to be in bulk binders forever. Shadow Realm Horror. It's going to be a $5 to $10 card, just like Murky Water, right? Like, except Levy is actually just better. So this will probably be closer to $10, maybe even a little bit more on release until all the Levia players get their hands on it. Then it's going to fall down. This card's going to be $5 as well. That's why I'm at generically with the Majestics. So Manifestation of Miraga Extended Art. We kind of have nothing to compare this to, because if we look at every extended art Majestic in the game, there's nothing super comparable, right? We have Monarch stuff. We have Bad Hero stuff. We have, like, the only thing that actually would be, like, comparable would be the Bright Lights, War Machine, Terminator Tank, that whole cycle, except Teklo's bad, right? Teklo's not a popular hero. So because Teklo's not popular, these cards aren't as expensive as, like, the rarity would suggest that they are. So I would imagine Manifestation of the Miraga Extended Art would probably be like a $50 card, maybe $60 card. I could see it settling at 50, initially maybe being like 70. If I had one right now, I would want to sell it for like 70. If I was buying one right now, I wouldn't pay more than like 60. So like somewhere in that 60, 70 range right now. I could see it settling closer to 50 though. Levels of Enlightenment extended art. It's going to be even more expensive, right? Because it's playable in all the heroes. I could $80 for Levels of Enlightenment. I could see it settling closer to like 70 or 60. But yeah, for now, definitely 80. I think those cards are like huge hits in this set. Insane hits. As far as I know, those are the only extended arts. Let me know in the comments down below if there's another one that I'm missing. And yeah, I will just leave a comment on it right there, what I think. There's a couple cold foils as well. Long draw half glove. The cold foil of this, it would be as rare as something like the new prism weapon, right? The new prism weapon's like $50. But I think the prism weapon cold foil is something that's a lot more desirable than a long draw half glove, which people might not even play. So yeah, the cold foil of this, I imagine, is going to be $25 ish, because yeah, Azalea might not even play this card, right? And she's the only one that even, well, I guess Riptide could as well. So I guess that does bring it up a little bit. I didn't consider Riptide. Still, maybe 30. I don't know. This card doesn't seem that insane to me. And again, they might not even play it because Bullseye's just so good, right? I'd say $30. All of the Evo stuff, cold foil, I have no faith in these cards at all. The cold foils, they'll be like $5, I guess. I don't know, maybe 10. I don't know. I have absolute zero faith in those. Okay, that's our Majestics. Let's go to the legendaries. All right. Okay, so we're going to look at these the exact same way we look at everything else, right? How many heroes can play it? If we look at heavy hitters, the Balance of Justice is obviously the most expensive because it's generic, and then Grains of Bloodspill and Apex are next because they're played in 3 meta-relevant heroes. Gauntlets is only playable in 2 heroes, or 3 heroes technically, but only 1 meta-relevant hero. And then Aram Aegis is only playable in Victor. So that's kind of how the price structure I would be valuing these cards at as well, right? So Traverse the Universe is playable in 3 different heroes. That's a lot better than something like 12 Petal Kasaya that's only playable in 1 hero, right? So Mask of Recurring Nightmares, Mystic Assassin, only playable in new. So yeah, I think that this card's probably going to be like $30, maybe $35. It just depends how good new winds up being. I think, well, you got to ask yourself, is new going to be better than Victor? If it is, then the price of Mask of Recurring Nightmares would obviously be higher than Aram Aegis, right? And I think that she is going to be better than Victor. I think Victor's like in a really bad spot right now. So that's why I'm saying this card's probably going to be worth 30. But yeah, it can't be that much, right? It never is going to be more than Apex Bonebreaker. And Gauntlets of Iron Will is playable in 3 different heroes. Granted, none of them are super good right now. But yeah, I think new will be good and new will play this card. Therefore, it'll be a little bit more expensive, so $30. This card, I don't even know if it's good. I think it's fine. I don't know if it's even better than Phantasmal Footsteps. But either way, Enigma's still going to play it to some degree. Yeah, I would say this card's going to be... Enigma's obviously good, right? We all know that. So I think this card's also going to be about $30. This card's going to be $15, $20 probably. Zen is just not, he's not sold me yet. So I'm saying this card's going to be $20. This card is definitely standout. One of the best pools in the set. I think this one's much more comparable to like a Grains. I could see the rainbow foil of this going for like $60. Of course, all these prices I'm talking about are just rainbow foil. Stonewall Gauntlet, while it is a generic, it ain't no balance, right? I don't know how many heroes are even going to wind up wanting to play this. I've played a lot of open queue on Talishar, and I don't think I've ever ran into this card. I think it's a good card, right? People look at it and they're like, oh, well, this is a good side deck versus Ninja. I think it's just a good card in general because a lot of times it's just going to block 2, right? Because the opposing attacks get +1 this combat chain, and that affects the current chain link as well. So if they ever attack you with attack greater than their base, then it's effectively blocking for 2, which is better than a lot of arm pieces in this game. But so many other heroes already have great arm pieces, right? Like we just talked about Azalea's Bullseye Bracers. Azalea's never going to play this card, right? Apex Bonebreaker is obviously a lot better than this. No Brute is ever going to play this card. There's a lot of heroes that are just never going to play this card, right? And then, even Gauntlets of Iron Will, better than this card. No Guardian is ever going to play this card. Maybe these heroes will side it against Ninja, but it just doesn't even seem good enough to make a side deck slot for that, right? Because Ninja could still just close the combat chain. Sometimes they're combos won't allow them to close the combat chain. But yeah, I just don't know that this is good enough to even warrant a side deck slot. So yeah, for all those reasons, I would say it's probably going to be like $50. I still think it's a good card, but yeah, I think around $50. Enigma New Moon, I think these gold packs are like way overhyped. I could see this card being like $30, $40. I think this card is like way overvalued. I've seen some of them selling for $150. Absolute insanity. Yeah, I would be shocked if this card's over 50. I think realistically it's going to be closer to like, okay, maybe 30 is a little bit like tongue-in-cheek. I think it's going to be $40 or $50 card. I'd be shocked to find out if it was like 100. If it held at 100, that would blow my mind completely. Yeah, Blitz Hero, right? You know, what can we compare this to? We could compare it to like Shiana, I guess. How much is Shiana? I don't even know how to spell Shiana. Oh, wow. I was close enough. $46. Yeah, I could see this landing around there. 46. That makes sense. Okay. And the last thing we need to talk about is the... Oh, wait. We need to talk about the extended arts. The extended art cold foils. Okay, it's super hard to tell with the extended art cards because sometimes they print extended art cold foil legendary cards like insanely rare, like they did in Outsiders, and sometimes they're just like the same pull rate as a regular cold foil. So I'm assuming that they're the same rate as a regular cold foil, so I'll just value them the same as I would a cold foil. If it turns out later we find out that the extended arts are just giga rare like they were in Outsiders, then I guess, yeah, these numbers are subject to me being super wrong. But I'll just rate them like they're cold foils right now. So yeah, the cold foil mask will probably be like, what do we say for the non? 30? So the cold foil would be like 60. Cold foil of this, probably like 50. Cold foil of this, yeah, probably like 50 as well because it's extended art. It's probably going to look a little bit better. It's going to be a little juiced on the price, maybe 45. This card, extended art, will probably just be giga expensive. One of the crazy hits, I would say like 200 to 250, somewhere in that range. I think this is going to be like the hit from the set. Think like yeah, cold foil of the Balance of Justice, right? Let's just see what that's at real quick just so we have a little bit a reference point. 220, 250. Okay, I guess it can't be that expensive. So yeah, 180 to 200. That makes more sense. Yeah, 180 to 200. Cold foil of this be like $80. Marvel Enigma, yeah, that's a whale question. That's not a Staxwell question. That's like a whale collector. Maybe ask Saint about that. He'd probably know better than me. There's only 100 in the world. How many of those are English, right? Maybe 20 of them are English. So it's like, I don't know, like $2,000 or something like that. I have no idea. I don't even want to try and guess. Don't even, just scratch that. I don't even want to give you a number. Don't ignore the $2,000 number. All right. So yeah, last thing I want to talk about is the Marvels. All right. This is kind of like insane. People are valuing these cards like actually insane to me. Yeah, I want to talk about, like, I've seen some of the people selling this card, some of the people valuing this card, and I've seen them like just regular here, like these. I've seen them selling for like 10. I've seen people valuing them at $10 to like $150. So that range kind of has inspired me. I'm like, I should just make a video talking about this stuff. So let's jump into it here. So the Sacred Arts, the Marvels specifically, I think are going to be decently expensive because they're Majestics. We could imagine they're going to be the same pull rate as something like a Tomultai. Yeah, I think that they're going to be almost exactly like the Dragons, right? Because Tomultai was the best one, right? So Tomultai was always the most expensive one. So it was like 150, right? When it was good. Okay, so I think that this card is going to be like 150. The bad dragon, I don't remember his name, Dracona Optima, I think, was always like $80 when Tomultai was 150. So where's the bad dragon here? There it is. So yeah, 8 Dracona Optima of the set right here. I can imagine this guy being like $80. And then, yeah, this one also good. So think Dominia. Dominia was always like 130, something like that. So I could see, yeah, there's my call. Yeah, 130, 150, 80. And that's my reasoning. Yeah, so it just shows you both sides of them, I guess. It's kind of a weird way of doing it. All right, so all of these cards, Drop in the Ocean, Homage to the Ancestor, stuff like that. I've seen people valuing these at $10. So let me say why they're worth more than that, and then I'll say why they're worth less than 150. So they're Marvel commons, just like the Uprising Dragons, right? The Marvel common dragon. Well, I guess those were even rare. Yeah, these are also legendary, so they're going to be printed even less than that. But I guess the huge difference is that every hero could play all of these, right? A Drop in the Ocean could be played by 3 different heroes, whereas Dromai was the only one that could play the Marvel Dragons, right? So yeah, they're definitely going to be worth more than $10 because, yeah, they're legendaries. So they're probably going to be printed less. And then they are playable in 3 heroes, whereas the dragons were only playable in 1 hero. And then the dragons were rares, and these are commons. So I guess that kind of gives a couple points to the Dragons, but still, I think these are all going to settle right around the $50 price tag for each of them. I think some of them will be a little bit more expensive, right? I think this is actually the worst one, so I could see this one being like $30. But yeah, I think like what's the best one? Probably like gain one life is probably the best one, or draw one, put one back is the best one. One of these two. So yeah, these will probably be like 60, 65. But yeah, I think all these are going to settle right around the $50 price tag. The heroes are obviously going to be almost parallel with the heroes from heavy hitters, except it's notable that there's only 3 heroes in the set. So I don't know how that affects the pull rate. If there's only 3 heroes in the set, are we still just as likely to get a Marvel hero as we were from heavy hitters? Or is there half as many Marvels? Like, is the pull rate the exact same? Like, every hero has a 1 in 500 packs or whatever the pull rate was. That's just an example. So is the pull rate that? Is it like every Marvel hero is 1 in 500 packs because there's less Marvel heroes than there's like less overall? Like, I don't know. Or is there like a Marvel hero slot? Is a Marvel hero slot 1 in every 500 packs? Or is new specifically 1 in every, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to gauge it. So right now I'll just assume that there's just as many Marvel heroes in circulation as there was in heavy hitters, except there's only 3 of them, right? So I would imagine that new will wind up being like kind of like definitely not Kasai, right? Because Enigma is obviously the Kasai parallel here, and then Kasai is settled at what, 250. So I could see new being like closer to KO or closer to Victor. So yeah, I would say 180 for the adult new. Young new is gonna be like $40. Enigma, the adult, will be like 260, something like that. The young one will be like $40. And then for Zen, the adult Zen will probably be like 150, something like that. And then the young Zen will be like, yeah, $30, $40. Okay, there you go. That's every card in the set. That's where I think they're going to land. Let me know how wrong I am in the comments down below. Maybe we'll do a video coming back and like reacting to this stuff, how wrong or right I was in like a month or 2 months time. That would be kind of fun. Yeah, let me know how much you guys disagree in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, subscribe, help the algorithm help me out just a little bit. Later, gamers.